What I didn't realize that Steve Wozniak was as instrumental in making Apple as he was until I started doing this movie. You know, I'd never even heard of Steve Wozniak until he was on that Kathy Griffin reality show. That was literally the first time I was like, oh, there's another guy? I thought it was Steve Jobs. I play Steve Wozniak, who's the co-founder of Apple Computers with Steve Jobs. He would probably describe himself as as an engineer. Basically, he uh, was kind of the guy who conceptualized the idea that computers were something that everyone could have in their home because he just wanted one so badly that he invented a way that he could obtain one, basically. And in doing that, kind of accidentally made a way that everyone else could have one also. He is kind of seeing that Steve Jobs, I think for him it kind of is beginning to signify the end of his reign. As you know, the Apple II was the most successful thing ever built, essentially, and Wozniak invented it. It was his machine, and Steve Jobs is about to come out with a new machine that could potentially begin to render Woz's machine obsolete. And what he wants is some recognition for the team that created the Apple II, because maybe they're not going to be around for much longer. His greatest skills seem to be projecting what the next phase of what humans might want is, you know? Whereas Woz literally is obsolete today. Like, what he did isn't a thing people do anymore, literally. And I think that's why his inclination is probably to look back and acknowledge the shoulders of the people that you stood on in order to get where you are, because he isn't someone whose skill set applies to the future, whereas Jobs' skill set only applied to the future. The structure is so cinematic and that it almost, and so different from a normal, biographical movie, that it almost eliminates it from even having to be real life in my head. It's like, clearly this didn't happen. I mean, it's obviously the 40 minutes before every speech he had this an arc that with all these same-sex people. I mean, maybe they were all there, maybe he had interactions with them, but I don't for a second think that this actually happened, and I don't think anyone does. I think it's a brilliant way of portraying 30 years of history by over the course of 3 kind of moments,